fans of Broken Neck Radio. This is once again the Asian Invasion, and I'm here. I've got a special treat with you guys tonight. I'm here at Cannibal Corpse, Napalm Death, Beyond Creation and Immolation. This is at the Commodore Ballroom in Vancouver, and I've got a very special guest tonight. I've got Mr. Barney Greenway from Napalm Death. How you doing today, Barney?
I'm not too bad. I don't know if I warrant the special guest tag, but there you go.
Awesome. So this tour has been going on, just started, about a week ago, right?
10 days.
Yeah, 10 days ago. So how's the reception been so far with the tour?
Pretty much every night's been either sold out or close to. So in terms of attendance, fantastic, you know.
Absolutely.
And, you know, as always, we're just, from Napalm's side, we're trying our best to give people something worth coming for, you know, trying at least. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now you're touring with Cannibal Corpse on this tour, the Decibel tour, and now you've toured with so many bands over the years, and I don't want to ask you your favorite band of all time to tour with, but maybe some of the better bands or bands you had more fun with touring?
I think Sick of It All was probably one of the best times I ever had, yeah. Because they're quite close to us in the way they are as people, you know, and yeah, that was real fun. That was it was the Sepultura tour of '91, something like that.
So when Max was still at the band.
Max was still in the band, yeah. It was it Chaos AD? Might have been Chaos AD.
Yeah.
And we were Sick of It All on the same, travelling together. That was pretty fun.
I'm sure that was a great time.
Actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was one of my favourite times ever. But there's been many since.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
sure.
You know, I actually enjoy going on the road. You know, and there's been times probably when I didn't, but those were for certain reasons. You know, generally speaking, I enjoy it. You know, I don't take it for granted, and I understand that I'm fairly lucky to be able to be going on the road, especially for all these years consecutively, and so. You know, I'll make the most of it. I'll try to make the most of it.
Yeah, I was gonna, since some places you've boycotted over the years, like Israel, remember you didn't want to play there for the longest time.
Back. I mean, that was a tricky one, you know. I mean, I'm nothing against the Israeli people. I mean, you know, I just have an issue with a country behaving in such a way that it would not wish to be treated.
Exactly.
You know, I think Israel has a right to exist. Of course I do, and I don't think its citizens should be harassed either from other sides.
Exactly.
But I don't think they should be blockading and annexing another country. You know, as I would say the same about any other country. You know, so you know, I think a cultural boycott, you know, is something that is valid.
For sure.
And you know, again, on stress, and it's nothing against the Israeli people. It's nothing like that. It's you know, it's just they're behaving in a certain way, which I think doesn't give them the moral high ground. You know, let's just put it like that.
So over the years, with all these tours, with all these different bands, I'm sure you played at a lot of interesting places, you know, places to play gigs. And what is some of the most, maybe the weirdest places you've ever, because I've heard you've played at slaughterhouses before.
Yeah, well, that was a particular incident where we rolled up to a gig, which we knew was going to be very, very sort of low-key, and we rolled up and it was like a horse slaughterhouse.
It was in Italy?
Italy, yeah. It was pretty horrific, you know. It was just... That was the only time I've ever driven away from a gig, you know. It was pretty... I mean, I can't even describe it. It was in the height of summer, and there was like dead, like carcasses everywhere, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. You know, it's just one of the times in your life where it's like, I don't want to be here right now. You know, this is not inspiring me to do anything remotely productive, you know, so we just left, you know.
Yeah. That's only
I mean, we've been in places in particularly pivotal times, you know, like we were the first band to play in Russia independently, you know, and we were also in the Balkans during the Balkans War, which was
That's right, too.
Which was a pretty weird scene, you know, as you can imagine. Obviously, I didn't see explicitly what we eventually found out what was going on, but it was a weird time. But we tried to balance it out by taking nobody's side, you know. So we played a gig in Croatia and a gig in Belgrade, you know, and yeah, so, you know.
So, playing a gig at a slaughterhouse or just weird places like that to play gigs, you being vegetarian, and are you vegan now?
I'm vegan.
Vegan, and especially playing a gig at that place. And you've been vegetarian, vegan since about 14 years old?
I've been vegetarian since I was 14, and then I've been vegan. I've always, like, kind of been on the fence between vegetarian and veganism, but I'm fully vegan, you know, since, like, a year and a half, something like that.
So over the years, I'm sure it's not as difficult now, but probably in the last 10, 15, 20 years, I'm sure back then it was a lot harder to find the vegan.
I mean, I would say in the last 5 years approximately, it's got to the point where it's like, it's perfectly, sort of, everything's perfectly accessible now. You know, I can get really amazing vegan food in most Canadian and American cities, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and everything's closed except for McDonald's, I mean, what are you going to do, right?
I'm not going to go to McDonald's. I'm definitely not going to go to McDonald's.
No doubt.
But we always, because we've got sort of a transport with a little bit of space on it, you know, it's not just a van, so we're able to, what Napalm does is we get some stuff from the tour, you know, some bits of snacks and stuff, but then we also buy our own stuff as well, you know. We kind of make a weekly shop,
right.
Some weeks,
that's good,
and back and fill up on supplies. Like when you get up in the morning, very often you're driving, so we've got, like, for example, for me, I've always got like a protein cereal or raisin bran, and, you know, almond milk, rice milk, and, you know, vegan bread, various things like that, you know, just to keep you going until you get somewhere where you can get dinner or something.
Yeah, awesome. I want to change gears a little bit, and I want to ask you, because I saw a little bit of press on this, but not a hell of a lot, but it was the gig you were supposed to play back in March. It was at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London.
Sure, yeah.
Now, you were scheduled to play this gig with Keith Harrison, who's this sculpturist, right? And you were going to play a set with, I guess it was sculptures of the amps and stuff.
He was building speakers, like, encased in clay.
Right,
and the whole idea was that those would degrade and or explode
as you were playing,
because it's unpredictable, you know, and but it didn't work out. But it wasn't necessarily that was the issue. It was the fact that there was valuables and things, and their insurance. I think they were worried about their insurance and stuff. I mean, they kind of should have thought that in advance, really, but
probably, I'd say.
But they didn't. But they might have a rethink, and we may well do it again, or we'll do it somewhere else.
It was a very interesting idea. I really wish it would have came to fruition.
I thought it was great, you know, because obviously we've been around for a long time, and you kind of need to pick some things, or try and do some things that are different at points, just so it's not the same old make album, tour this place, tour that place, make another album, tour this place, tour that place. You know, Napalm, I like to think that Napalm's a little bit more than just a regular band, you know, that we have all these ideas and stuff, and, you know, so.
Absolutely. What I do want to talk about, just for a little bit here, is over the years, I know you've had some problems back with Earache Records with Digby Pearson and a few other things, as we talked about the Israel show that you boycotted for years. But I just want to say, after all those things and just everything you went through over that period, you tend to stay just so classy, and I think you're one of the classiest guys in all of music, not just metal, but all the music.
How can we continue from that?
You just stayed really civil through it. I mean, a lot of guys would go out there and just start lambasting them and just say whatever they want about whoever, but you've stayed really classy through it.
I'm just a human, but my outlook to life is fairly humane. I don't necessarily see any merit in, like, prolonging conflict just for the sake of it. Of course, there are some things that I feel need to be constantly addressed, but that doesn't mean to say that everything requires constant fights, because it gets really tedious.
It's very tedious and stressful.
Yeah, I mean, the earache thing, I feel no need to really comment on that now, because
it's in the past.
Well, not only is it in the past, it's been done to death.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore, because nothing that's going to be done is going to make it any better.
Yeah, nothing's going to change from that.
And And it is what it is. It's another experience in life.
That's right.
Nobody particularly got, mortally wounded over the whole thing. There is a thing about bands being adversely affected by those sorts of practices of what went on. But for now, I don't think it's productive, to start to carry on like, bad mouthing.
Yeah, exactly. And just one last question for you is, now you're playing Commodore Ballroom tonight, and it's, a fair size, about 900, 1,000 people can get into here.
Probably the most luxurious place I'll sit.
Absolutely, it's very nice. I've seen a lot of bands here, and it's just a great atmosphere for everything. But, I don't know, do you prefer, like, small knit shows, tight knit shows?
If you ask Cannibal Corpse, they'll probably tell you different. I prefer gigs where the PA is falling on top of you, and you've got stage guys holding up the PA with their feet, Just because that's my sort of thing, I get really wired on that stuff, It's not for everybody, and each to their own,
Exactly.
But that's my favourite thing. I mean, this looks like a really nice building. The thing I don't like about this sort of place is the barrier, It's always far too far away,
Yeah, that's the
and
only
that kills a little bit of the vibe,
Yeah,
but,
and DJ Sabotage, who I have right here, she's going to be attending Hellfest in France, so 3 full days.
Yeah.
It's going to be great, and I know that Napalm will be headlining their own stage.
Yeah.
So, do you really like the huge festival type shows as well?
I do like those festival things. I mean, things like Hellfest, although it's like a big festival and they got a barrier and stuff, it's a little different because obviously you've had people sleeping in fields for a few days, and they tend to get pretty wild-eyed, and that makes it quite chaotic in a lot of respects,
Yeah.
So it's a little different, but yeah, it'll be good. It's really wild for us to be headlining a festival like that, a stage, obviously not the main stage, but a particular stage.
Yeah.
It's something that we're just not used to.
Yeah.
We're always used to being that middle band on the bill.
Middle,
sort of
the mid card.
So it's quite a thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a great time, and I'm sure you're definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll always do the do. We'll always do what I think, I suppose.
All right, I think that's all I got for now. This is the Asian Invasion signing off, and I think we might be finding, hopefully, some vegan food tonight with Mr. Barney Greenway.
Oh, we will be. Yeah, Asian food, maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
Only vegan, though.
Yeah, only vegan.
Awesome. You stay metal.